Hello, my name is Jeff S., and I'm here today to talk about the privacy implications of using internet-based third-party services. In our previous sessions, many of you expressed interest in this topic because it's not something that we really think about that much, and many of you wanted to take a deeper dive. So, let's take a deeper dive. So here are our learning objectives for today. We'll describe a terms and conditions agreement. We'll analyze an agreement, assess risks or conflicts contained in an agreement, describe a data breach, build defenses against data breaches, and justify the use of third-party services in your classes. So have you ever signed up for an internet-based service? They have a little checkbox where you have to agree to the terms and conditions. And have you ever read those terms and conditions? Most of us just click and go and get on with it. But there's a lot hidden there and some perils that await if you're not careful. This is especially important in the classroom because requiring third-party services can cause some conflicts, and I want to dig into that a little bit. I'm not opposed to these third-party services. They're great, but requiring them in the classroom is something you need to think about when you're designing your classes. So let's take a look. What do we mean by terms and conditions? It's usually a big long page of legalese, but it's the rules that we agree to abide by when using a service. The terms are what you're allowed to do, conditions is what you're not allowed to do, and you agree to follow those rules. Now, if you violate the rules, it's not a crime. You're not going to get the police after you. It's just a violation of the agreement. But we need to be aware of our role in these services. For example, have you used Google? Have you read their terms? Take a look at this. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Have you read that? No, I haven't. Well, I did for this presentation, but I did find something alarming. When a service requires or includes downloadable software, this software may update automatically on your device once a new version or feature is available. Some services may let you adjust your automatic update settings. So, implied here is that some services may not let you adjust the update settings. And this bothers me because I want to be in control of my computer, but by agreeing, I cede that control to Google. Or, how about Facebook? Do you use that service? Check out these terms. Oh, it just keeps going. In an education environment, privacy and protection are required by FERPA, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act. And that says that student records may not be disclosed to any third party. We have to maintain their privacy. All educators, all administrators, it's enshrined in federal law. But, unlike the woman in this image, education does not happen in isolation. To deliver a good learning experience, instructors might need to leave the cozy FERPA bubble. Further, internet-based services are appealing because IT support is not needed. Budgets are often stretched, and IT already has as much responsibility as they can handle, so it makes sense to look for third-party products that can enhance the learning experience. Which services do you use? Several are pictured here, but there are a zillion out there. I want you to select a service that you would like to investigate. It can be something that you already use, or maybe something that you're considering. You will use this service as you work your way through this video. Pause the video while you ponder, and resume playback once you've chosen. Instructors and course designers should proceed with caution when choosing a service. Read the terms and conditions, user agreement, privacy policy, to understand what students will be agreeing to when they sign up. Let's consider a career development class and consider a project to build a profile on the popular networking site LinkedIn. While LinkedIn can be a good way to find a job, the user agreement comes with some perils. Let's take a look at the specific wording of the LinkedIn agreement. And I'm not trying to pick on them, they're just an example. First, notice that the minimum age required is 16. Will everybody, now and in future classes, always meet this requirement? Next, notice how only one account per person is allowed. What if students already have an account? Will they be required to modify it for this class? The agreement forbids them from creating another. And finally, notice that it is required to use your real name. What if a student doesn't want to use his or her name? FERPA requires protecting student data, and LinkedIn requires disclosing the data. There's a conflict here. Again, LinkedIn can be a good career tool, but its required use in a class project might be problematic. Therefore, the instructor or course designer should read the terms before requiring a service, or allow students to choose an alternative or substitute that accomplishes the same goals. Now, let's consider the service that you chose a few slides back. I want you to locate their terms document and do your best to parse the legalese. In a new document, I want you to create a brief write-up on any conflicts or issues that you might have discovered. Document these and let me know what you think. Or alternatively, if you don't find any issues, then please write up how the terms are acceptable in an education environment. But let's take it a step further, shall we? Learner-centered education and the andragogy philosophy suggest that we should instruct in more than just the subject matter itself. Lifelong skills and societal growth should be encouraged. So let's use these terms as the premise for a beyond the classroom exercise. In your classes, you could include a section about reading and understanding the terms. Students could pick a service, research, write a report, give a presentation, in order to help them make their own judgments as they go out into the world. As these services become more and more parts of our lives, students need to be equipped to understand how these terms and conditions will affect them. And if this weren't complicated enough, there's the specter of data breaches that looms over all of us. We hear about these in the news all the time. Seems there's always a new leak of data. In the year 2014, the retailer Target lost names, addresses, and credit card numbers. In the year 2015, our federal government's Office of Management and Budget lost many millions of government employees' personal records. In the year 2017, there was Equifax, the credit scoring company, leaked information on 147 million people. That's more than half of the adults in the United States. And then there's the ones that don't make the headlines. You never know when a service is going to be breached, and you need to defend yourself against these possibilities. A website called HaveIBeenOwned.com, and yes, that's owned with a P. It's a nerd culture thing. They curate statistics on data breaches. And here's what it looks like. Enter your email address, and the system will do a database lookup to see which breaches your address was associated with. We can scroll down the list here and see some of the largest ones. MySpace, LinkedIn, Adobe. Yeah, you've heard of them, but there's also some unknown ones here. But check out this grand total, 5 billion owned accounts. And there's a list of them available here. Who's being owned? And this list is in alphabetical order, and it goes on and on and on. And I don't know what a lot of these even are. Adult Friend Finder. All right. Whatever. AstroPid. Yeah, so right. Bitcoin. Philippines voters. That's pretty bad. Dodo New. Huh. And oh, we're down to the M's. We're only halfway through the list. It just keeps going and going. And finally, at the end, the folks that run this site monitor the seamy underbelly of the internet for these data breaches and collect the information to help make us secure. So they're the good guys in this battle, even though they're harvesting lots of personal data. Now, I want you to pause the video, go to the Have I Been Owned website, and see if the service that you chose has been a victim of a breach. Document your findings in your write-up. Okay, now I want you to pause the video again, and in your document tell me, will the service that you chose suffer a breach in the future?
Often, security is not a top priority at many companies. It's an expense without any tangible benefit. There's no return on investment. And so a lot of companies take shortcuts. But what that means for us as consumers and users of these services is that we take on the risk of their data losses. If there's a data breach, the company gets some bad publicity for a while, but it's quickly forgotten. But we consumers, we pay the price indefinitely. If our names and personal information is out there, we can be victims of identity theft, credit card fraud, tax fraud. We bear the burden of the company's negligence. And yes, I said negligence. I know that sounds like victim blaming. Oh, surely these companies didn't expect to get hacked. It was criminals that broke in. Oh, boo-hoo. Well, no. I mean, victim blaming is often just automatically discounted. But, in a lot of cases, of course. But in this case, I'm not so sure. This type of a data breach is not some random event, right? Like if a tornado blows over your house, that's bad luck. You could not have prevented it. You call the insurance company and rebuild. But to think of these data breaches like a tornado, like, oh, just it's bad luck, we could not have prevented it. Well, no, that's an inaccurate analysis. These companies have a responsibility to safeguard our information. Think about your bank. Why does your bank have a vault? I mean, surely they just... stealing is already a crime. Robbing a bank can be punished under existing laws. Why do you need a vault? Just hang a "No stealing, please" sign out front. Well, no. We need deterrence to prevent the types of losses that could occur. And in this brave new world of the internet, it's not something that everybody's figured out yet. So we need to expect a data breach. And we need to defend ourselves because we pay the price. And, gosh, I hate to sound so cynical, but this is what it's come to. Look, I'm sorry to go off on a rant here, but this is important stuff. Your safety is your responsibility, and by extension, as instructors, our students' safety is also our responsibility. And if we don't do our due diligence, it's reckless to just trust any old third-party service that's out there. Okay, what can we do about this? So here's some suggestions. The first one is just don't sign up for a service. Do you really need that message board or discussion forum? Do they really need your name and email address? So just think before you randomly sign up for every service that's out there. Further, don't give more information than you absolutely have to. If they want your phone number and your address and your zip code, just leave those fields blank when you sign up. And if the system won't let you sign up until you've filled in every single field, then think again. Do you really want to use this service? So you've decided you do want to use a service. You've done some background checking. It looks good. How do you defend yourself further? And here's where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to suggest bogus data. There's no requirement to tell the truth or be honest. You can lie on the internet. When they ask for your name and your phone number and your zip code, just give them bogus random stuff so that if a data breach does occur, it's not your real information. Let me show you a sample. Yes, it's the fake name generator, a randomly generated identity. Here, look, we have Sandra B. Davis living in San Mateo. Here's a plausible phone number for that area. The area code is correct. Here's a reasonable birth date, and we can scroll down the list here. A fake email address, a fake credit card, a fake employer, fake height and weight, favorite color. And if you don't like that person, we'll come up to the top and hit the refresh button. And look, we have Harry Parker now, and Fresno, and more information about Harry. And if we don't like that person, maybe we want to get some French-sounding names in the United States. Let's generate a new one. All right. Now we have Frenchy-sounding types of names and information. And let's choose Swedish. Generate. All right, Kaspar. All right. So this is information you could use to fill in on a website that insists on having your information, and if it's breached, it's all fake. So who cares? There's so many possibilities here, and it's not limited to United States addresses. We'll get some addresses in France, and I don't know where that is, but you could use this information in a website as well. It's tempting to leverage all the technological resources that are available to us. As we live our lives more and more on the internet, our classrooms should follow suit. And this aligns with the prior experience assumption of andragogy. Surely the incoming students will have themselves used some sort of web-based third-party system. But as instructors and course designers, we need to do our homework. So, don't require a specific service. Allow alternatives or substitutions. Encourage the students themselves to read the terms before they sign up. And third, expect a data breach. Only provide enough information to be able to use the service. Okay, that's about it. So considering everything that I've discussed here, I want you to reconsider what service you chose, and in your documentation, write up a quick explanation about why or why not you would use that service in the classroom. And if you would choose to use a service, are there any defenses that you would recommend?
send the entire document to me via email, and I will reply with my feedback. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. So, it's time to go. My name is Jeff S. Be safe out there.